Thank you very much, Ahmed, for joining us for this particular video to talk about the Rhodes Scholarship interview. I mean, one of the most interesting interview, I will call it, because now we are competing against people that they think they are worthy of receiving the scholarship. And at the end of the day, you were able to receive the scholarship. You're going to Oxford in October to study in one of the prestigious, in fact, the most prestigious university in the world. People from Cambridge and Harvard, we want to argue, but don't worry. So, uh, thank you very much for doing this. I know a lot of people want to know about the interview process, how you're able to stand out. I mean, that's one thing that I think is important to talk about. So, and we also want to learn from you the process that led to the interview. I think you've talked about that in previous video, but after you were selected, how is the process from that selection or when you received the email till you finished the interview and you were awarded the scholarship? Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vam Yusuf, once again. So it's a two-part interview process. So there's a virtual interview for semi-finalists. So the final 60 or thereabout, they interview all of you virtually. So you get an email maybe like on a Sunday or a Saturday. I got mine. I'd actually given up because I had gotten many rejections and I had given up. And I remember just sometimes I wake up randomly in the night, just refreshing my email, waiting for the email to drop. Then I woke up one night, I just saw, congratulations, you've gotten to the semi-final stage. And I had to, so got the interview. From that point of semi-finalist to the final is maximum of 2 or 3 weeks, right? Maximum.
Mm.
Because around that time, it was late October. I think I got the email for this maybe like October 30 or thereabout. So you get it on a Sunday or Saturday or the previous week, and they set the interview for maybe like Monday to Wednesday. They are interviewing everyone. They will interview, it's just 15 minutes for the virtual interview. And all the selectors for that region are going to be on the call. They would have someone that is leading the interview, and maybe two other people would pitch in, right? And for the semi-final interview, I'll say they are still just trying to know you a bit more. And they will ask you, it's more like a behavioral interview. So it's not technical interview. It's not like a behavioral interview, just asking you about yourself, about what you're trying to do. And they're just looking out for like, what are the people that can answer confidently, right? And know like the things that they said in their personal statement is it wasn't like they wrote it for them. They wrote it themselves. So they know this thing. And I'm going to talk through that. So one of the questions I got asked is, oh, like I did a lot when I was in school. Like I was doing like a lot professionally, and I was still able to achieve a first class. Like, how did I do it? Right. And I sort of talked about it one way or the other. And they asked me like 2 or 3 other questions. One of the selectors asked me, now I've worked in like 4 different industries. Now, what exactly go is my main one? And I had to talk through that on the call. But when I met him in the dinner, I sat with him for like an entire hour, just giving him my backstory and my life story. Just to, because I realized that the answer I gave in the virtual interview didn't fully answer his question. So I looked for him and I sat down with him for like 30 minutes, just dosing him with like my life story from secondary school to uni, where I'm at. And at the end of the day, I think he got like a very good sense of who I am and what I'm trying to do. So that's how that is. The honest truth is for both the virtual and the final interview, you can't prepare enough, right? Because you cannot predict the question. It's different questions for different people. So you can't predict it. So that's for the virtual. Then for the final interview, for the virtual interview, it's still relatively easier because it's virtual. Even though it's 15 people on the call, it's still virtual. And the final interview is the real deal. That one, even the most confident people have issues. Because you're sitting down in front of some of the most accomplished people in Africa. Like people I hear their names and revere like in industry that this is a top person. You're not sitting in front of them and they are questioning you. And these are captain of industries that they literally know the industry you say you want to disrupt more than you. They are the ones that are going to be asking you questions. So it takes a lot of nerve and a lot of confidence to be able not to freeze in that condition. So a lot of people, one of the things that affects their interview is not because they don't have an answer to the questions that they are being asked. It's just that they freeze. Like the nerve does too much, and it's just like let this 20 minutes just end quickly. I don't want to do it again. I mean, I understand that some people just break down mid-interview, even though they try everything to make it easier for you to settle in. They make it look like a conversation, like it's not an interview, but you know it is. Oxford is on the line, and you just 3 people out of 15 of you. So more specifically into like what would help or how I prepared for my final interview. So the first one is I spoke to people that were finalists in the previous years, but didn't get the scholarship. I've also come to realize that a lot of times when you ask winners for how they won, they give you generic answer. I'm probably giving generic answer on this call. When you ask with winning, there isn't much learning that comes with it. Like when you win, you really in the victory and that's it. There isn't much. You don't reflect back.
Yeah, it might not take time to reflect. Yeah.
Like, well, how did I win? What made me win? Because even to feel like, how did I win? I don't know.
People.
But like the people that did not win, they will be thinking about that experience a million times. So they can tell you 100 things that they could have done better. So I spoke to 2 of the previous finals. I reached out to more than 2, but those were the 2 that got back to me, that got to the finals, but didn't win, right? And I asked them, what do you think went wrong? And one of them gave me, I'll say, the best advice that helped me in the interview. And guess what the advice could be?
What's that?
Guess, just guess. Just a random guess.
Drink water. Drink water before the interview. Or wear suits.
So it's about smiling.
Ah, wow.
Because what they're assessing for is beyond your technical ability to answer the questions they are asking you. They're also looking at your social cues of this person. Is it the kind of person that can socialize with people? And simple things as smiling, humor, carrying everybody along is one of those things that makes you a very highly impactful, let's say, speaker, right? Or social person. He told me that when he finished his interview in the previous year, because he did very well in the interview, one of the selector told him that, guy, like, you did very well, because this guy is someone that also does public speaking, poetry, and all of these things. I think studying mass communication or English or something like that. So when you hear him speak, like, the clarity of thought is there. Like, and he's a very solid, and he was the BGS for his department in Unilag too. So he said, but one thing that is scored low, and I wish that they could release the scoring criteria, because that's the problem. You don't know all the things that are on the scoring criteria. So he said one of the selectors told him that one of the places you scored low was that you had like a very stern face. Fam Yusuf, can you still hear me?
Hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you. I'm with you.
Yeah. That you had like a very stern face when you're answering all your questions. And people took you like, this is going to be someone that is too serious. You would just go to Oxford and just go and read their books. And Oxford is more than just going to read your books.
Yeah.
Like, the social part is a huge chunk of what Oxford is going to offer you, right? The social network, the alumni network, and your ability to be able to tap into those networks and maximize and extract as much value as you can is going to determine how successful you would be. with whatever solution. Because life is more than academics alone, right? And these are some of the things that they are looking out for. So he told me that if you whatever you have to do, just try to smile. But it's funny because this is a serious case. Like, what's funny? Why are you smiling? It's not about it as it's funny that is making you to smile. So when I was preparing, I told the person that I prepared with, which was my uncle, that I spoke to someone and he mentioned that smiling was one of the things that made him to score low. So I think one thing I prepared for, we did like a mock interview, was just smiling. Like, Ahmed, practice smiling and practice how you can introduce some humor into the room. And that was what transformed my interview.
Wow.
Like, the Rhodes final interview is one of the best interviews I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
We were just cackling throughout, like all of us in the room. When I came out of the interview, the guys, the other people that were outside were asking me, what were you telling them that was making them laugh? But they were hearing their laughter outside.
Wow.
And it was just a case of answering their questions very intelligently and also introducing light humor. And what I realized that helped me with is humor helped me to be more comfortable.
Yeah. Right.
Because when I started the interview, I was also very tensed and I didn't answer the first question very well. But when I introduced some humor and the atmosphere in the room lit up, it was just like my own spirit just went up. And then, like, all the other questions, I was just going back to back and back. They probably asked me like the most questions. And it was a very enjoyable interview for all of us. Like, even I feel like the selectors enjoyed that interview. And I personally enjoyed it because I was just laughing. And I finished the interview just thinking, see, even if I had not win the scholarship, this wasn't a bad interview. It won't be because I did poorly here. It will probably be because of something else. And I finished the interview. I went back to my room upstairs and I just went to sleep until they now called us that they are about to announce the results. So that's one. I think just having that context, not that you not get there and you be smiling like a fool.
Don't do that though.
But like thinking of how you can introduce light humor because it helps you. I think he helped me the most than the interviewer. It helps you to be relaxed. And when you are relaxed, you are able to talk more confident and better response. You're even able to think better, to give better response than you would do. The second one is whatever you've said on your personal statement, whatever problem you've identified, please, before your final interview, be an expert. If you're not an expert, at the time you wrote the personal statement, be an expert in that regard. Because they can ask you the most random questions. Not even they will ask you the most random questions. So let me give you an instance. We're talking about pharmacy first care model and doing something like that in rural communities. And they asked me about, multinationals. As at that time, that was the time GSK and the likes were leaving Nigeria. And what are my thoughts around helping indigenous companies solidify their foot in Nigeria? If I was not someone that was conversant with this, like with the news of this is what is happening, these are the reasons why they happen, and I just stayed on social media, I just took what people are saying on social media that it's because of government policy, blah, 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 hook, line, sinker. I would not say anything that was meaningful to answer that question. But because it was a problem and it was a situation that I understood deeply, it was not like I was teaching them. So they asked me, they probably ask and give one example. And I'll go for that and say, it's not even just one, it's three. And this was A, B, C, D reason why it happened. And these are some of the thinking I'm having towards how it can be solved. These are some of the things I've done in this regard. And in the nearest future, these are some of the things that I would do. Right? So they also asked me, the most random question I got was, what are the laws that are guiding telemedicine in Nigeria? And this is where I would say luck comes in. I don't know what happened. I think it was in one of my research that I saw a guy from Australia. He had written this guide, and one of the things in the guide is all the leading news or the leading events that are built up to your in that year in relation to the things you're trying to do, the problem you're trying to solve, but even globally, when it comes to like globally things that are happening, have an idea of what is going on there and just understand it a bit. So maybe this year you'll be thinking about Trump policies and all these things that are happening, PEPFAR, USAID, all these freeze that are happening. I'm sure those are questions you will ask people that are trying to do stuff in healthcare, NGO, non-profit in the final interview. And he asked me, because I was talking about how we can infuse telemedicine in pharmacy first care model. And he asked me, like, what are the laws that guide telemedicine today in Nigeria? Luckily for me, I did not know what I was doing 2 weeks to that time. I had stumbled on a summary by one of these law firms that was talking about the laws guiding telemedicine. So I had read it and just knew that in passing.
Wow.
So when I was asked that question, even me, in that moment, I blew myself mind. I blew my own mind because it was like the most random question. And if we did not know it, your interview could literally be going downhill from there. Because personally, you just begin to lose motivation that, yeah, I've messed this up, right? This is not working. So be an expert in that thing. And I think it's also the same thing with the other guys that won. Corey knew so much about pharmacogenomics. He had done research in that regard. He had worked at NIMA in that regard. So I don't think there was a question they were going to ask him that he was also not able to answer. The other guy was also like in technology. He was like a computer science guy. And he had tried, like he was at that point even building a startup, right? So he sort of like knew what he was talking about, right? AI and all of these things. And that helped. But yeah, those are some of the few things that helps with the interview, right? Thinking beyond just technical ability, the social cues of it, it helps you, it helps the interview room. Also, preparing, let me say I can put this. So in my preparation, I prepared answer blocks rather than preparing for specific questions. I think one problem that a lot of applicants also have at that stage is they will have people, because if you go online and search for Rhodes final interview, trust me, you would find a lot of questions. I found a lot of questions. I even had like a sheet that I wrote maybe like 20 something questions that they could ask in a final interview and different answers to that. But if you prepare specific answer to specific questions, then when you get to the interview and they're asking you different questions, it becomes an issue. So what I did as an extension is to prepare answer blocks that these are specific answers I can use to answer this question if you come in different ways. Because literally, like most of these questions will still be the same thing, but just they will not be asked in a different way. So if you've prepared answer blocks and say, okay, I have 20 scenarios, just like a normal interview, start approach, situation, task, action, result, and all of these other approach, the power of three or three framework, the pyramid way of answering, just having those different answer blocks would really be helpful. Because that way, you've not zeroed in your mind that is this type of questions that will come out. But you already have a pool, like a reservoir of answers. Because that when they throw the question at you, you're looking at your answer pool and saying, which answer can I use to quickly answer this one? I can just take one or two or three from it and use it to answer the question. So they're going to ask you questions on your personal statement, on your resume. I get a lot of questions on my resume, and about your previous experience and about what you're trying to do. So the best way you can prepare is to really know yourself, and also do mock interviews with people. If you can do that, that can also really help you.
Thank you very much. I mean, that's very highly insightful. So another thing I want to really ask is the dress code. Is there any dress code for the interview?
Yeah. So This dress code for the interview is formal. You wear suit. For guys, we wear suit. Ladies will also dress formally. Um, yeah, that's the dress code for the final interview. For the dinner, the night before the final interview is business casual. Um, the dress code for the entire this thing is usually like business casual. Then the final interview is full formal attire. So you wear suit. The guys wore suits. The ladies dressed in a formal way. Um, and yeah, that was the dress code.
Okay. Thank you very much. Do you have any other thing that you want to share with um, people that want to do interview? I know these are the people that will be watching this video. Do you have anything that you also want to share with them? Maybe last word or something?
Yeah, so maybe in general, not even just interview alone, but generally with the application.
Mm,
And this might be, I don't know the extent to which this is true, but it's something I've realized. We're in a digital era, right?
mm,
And I've realized that the last 6 winners now, so 3 from our own cohort, 3 from the previous cohort, there is some level of them infusing digital technology into their project or the problem they're trying to solve. Not like they're making it the center of it, but there's an element of we're going to leverage on digital technology to try to do this.
mm.
So it's just an observation, doesn't make it a fact.
Yep.
So what am I saying in essence is whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever problem you're trying to do in this age and era, if you're not thinking of ways that technology can help you,
Mm,
can be a red flag. And if you're also not communicating that in your interview or in your, it might be very hard to compete against people that are able to leverage that. And this is not to say that you need to be a coder, right? Or you
mm,
need to learn software. No, it's just, even if it is in literature, right? If it's in art, you have to be thinking of ways that technology can enable or can help you in solving that problem better. Because this is the era of technology. So I don't know of anything you can tell me now that you will not be leveraging technology to make better, to make efficient. And
mm.
that was something I also found out as a common trend in all of us that have won the past 3 1. So I'm doing something in healthcare that has to do has an element of technology. Corey is doing something in
Genomics.
genomics,
Yeah.
has an element of technology. The other guy is a computer scientist. The 3 previous winners, one of them was even working at Spotify, um, and she's trying to do something with making technology more, let's say, bringing more diversity into how products are being built for global audience. The other lady was also trying to do something for maybe rehabilitation of people with disability. And there was some element of using technology in that because she did an MS, she's doing an MS in translational health science. The other guy was doing something with energy, like power, and he has an element of how they can use technology to get
Mm,
energy to rural community. So again, think about like whatever project you're working on today. It doesn't mean you have to start with technology. It doesn't mean you have to even be using the technology today, but you have to think of ways that technology can enable and make it better, make it more efficient, more affordable, more scalable, and communicate that in your application. And lastly is just try to know yourself very
that's
well.
important.
Like try to know, like I feel like if you know yourself so well, the process would be a lot less harder for you, right? And that's one of the things, that's one of the purpose of the personal statement themselves. Like I've heard the Rhodes wording, and people in the Rhodes house say this a lot of times, that this personal statement, we are creating it with a sense of trying to help you to know who you are. Like even if you don't win the Rhodes Scholarship, if you pass through this experience, you should come out of it having a better understanding of who you are. So, but it's easy to game. You can game the system. And I feel like a lot of people game it. But if you game the system by the final interview, it will be very obvious. And lastly, I feel like I said lastly a lot of times. Lastly is just do the work. We talk about doing the work a lot of times, but only few people do the work. Do the work, because from what I've seen, the rewards, the scholarship oftentimes goes to people that are doing the work, and it doesn't have to be grand work. It doesn't have to be that you are on CNN or you've gone for 20 conferences, you've won 11,000. No, because if you're doing the work, the passion is going to be palpable. So let me give you an instance in my own story. So last year in January, because I was not planning to do grad school last year. There's a project that has been on my mind for like the past 2 years. So in January last year, I just thought of, I've been doing some work in that regard, but I haven't committed personal money into trying to pursue the project. So last year in January, I just said, you know what, like, I'm going to commit some personal funds into this. It's not a lot of money on the grand scheme of things because I'm still a very broke person. But I took out a couple of my savings and committed it to that project. Do you know it wasn't a big deal to me because I was not even doing it at that time with the mindset of using that context to apply for any scholarship, because I didn't plan to apply for the Rhodes Scholarship until April, May of 2024. So it wasn't even on my wish list for the year. But I committed that personal fund into that project, right? It was a project I ended up submitting for Rhodes Scholarship. And when I got to the finalist weekend and we got to that dinner we would have with the selectors, I'll be talking to them. Every single time I mentioned to any selector that, oh, this is what I've been doing, I mentioned the fact that I took out the personal saving to pilot the first pilot. It turned out to be a big deal. So people were like, wait, you did what? You took out your savings to talk to me more about that. And it got people really interested, right? And that's the benefit of doing the work. It also made it easy for me to talk about the thing.
Right.
Because the fact that I've done that
process, you know about it, you talk freely at what you've done.
Exactly. Like I've learned 100 times more than I've had the project on my Google Drive since like 2021. Since like 2021. And just working on it. And this was a project I was constantly doing research about. Even like a lot of my professional experience were like structured along this path. I never did anything personally with my own funds or my own resources until that last year. And I got to realize that I learned so much in 7-8 months of putting my own resources and putting my own energy into this thing than I did in the last 2-3 years of just looking on it on paper, right? So there's nothing that trumps doing the work, right? So if you're still in uni and you want to apply for Rhodes at some point, it's a prime time to begin to do the actual work. Because there's also a trend in universities nowadays. When I was in like 200 level, what was in vogue then is have leadership experience, volunteer in blah, blah, blah. But there's a trend that a lot of people know those things and are now they will join committees and do nothing just so they can put it on their CV. They run for positions, win elections, and do nothing meaningful just so they can put it on their CV that I was so. But the honest truth is, if you do not do the work, it just takes one interrogation.
Right.
What did you do for you to fall flat? Because if you not do the work, no matter how much light you want to cook, it just won't gel compared to someone that did the work, right? I got to know you when I was class rep. The first time I contacted you, I organized a program for our class then on how they can be thinking about their career post uni. I think we were on strike then. You were doing your internship at NAFDAC, if you can still remember. And you're talking to us about like research. And the next one, I was doing the Pans Research Club. which was like the first and only undergraduate research club in Unilag at the time, right? I wasn't doing any of these things for the personal glory. It was just research was exciting to me. It was a problem. It wasn't something we were doing a lot in uni, and I realized that a lot more people could get more value by just being involved in this thing. And I was just doing my own. So all of those things that felt like wasted effort, that a lot of people there will probably see as this guy is wasting his time. He's disturbing himself. Ended up being useful when I needed it. So nothing trumps doing the work. And I'm going to enjoy everyone to, as much as possible, those things that they are pushing to say, I'm going to do it in the next 5 years. I'm going to do it in the next 10 years. Begin to work on it as a pilot now with the little resources you have. Because if you yourself cannot bet on yourself and put your resources where your mouth is, can't you see that it's funny asking someone to give you 200K to do that thing? You cannot commit to it.
Yeah, I tell people that you cannot tell me that you are passionate about something and you've not done anything. There's no way.
Like it's and I feel like we know it in every other thing except in our own lives. Because the only way, for example, let's take a musician. The only way someone can say that, if someone come to me and say, I'm a musician, the first thing I'm asking is, where are your music? Send me your tracks. Even if they are not on Spotify, you must have put them somewhere.
Exactly.
You think you're passionate about music, but you've never written any song, you've never sang anything, you've never performed anywhere. Like, where is the passion? So it's the same way how it sounds ridiculous.
That's like many of those guys that are actually passionate about music. If you ask them, do you have any song that you've written? They will go and bring books for you.
Books for you. They will give you audio voice note. Like voice note that they will just be using hand or beat.
Exactly.
They will give you performance of things they've done in uni. Maybe the department.
Exactly. Yeah.
When people were not cheering them on.
Yes.
That's passion. So I don't understand how we don't understand that basic element when it comes to our own life. And you tell me, you say, oh, I'm an enthusiast of something. What have you done in that regard? And I'm still looking forward to, bro, like you cannot be looking forward to today. I think that's important. That's like the most important thing. It makes every other thing easy when you've done the work.
Thank you very much. Oh my God, I enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for all the useful insights. I know everyone here, they've picked one or two things from what you said, and it's going to be useful to them during the course of their own interview. Thank you very much, Ahmed. So if you've not watched the other videos, we have other videos where you talk about different aspects of the application, about the scholarship itself. Please watch them. So now we are also going to talk about the personal statement. That's going to be the next video now. Please look forward to that particular video where you will see the personal statement and you can learn from the way he structured it. Of course, you can't steal his story or his journey. So thank you very much, Ahmed, for doing this, and we wish you all the best in Oxford.
Yeah, thank you so much, Fam Yusuf. It's been a pleasure talking to you about this tonight.
Thank you.